What up, what up, what up? Back once again, the mighty J.O.E. in the days of hip hop with another classic album review. But before I jump this thing off, please subscribe, man. Please like, check out the videos, man. I appreciate that. And today, man, we're gonna revisit Ice Cube's America's Most Wanted, his debut album, released May 16th, 1990. Produced none other than the Bomb Squad. Also co-produced by Ice Cube and Sir Jinx. This album comes on the heels of him departing from NWA over money dispute, and what led to it, man, they didn't want to pay him. Matter of fact, they had a check for him, but it wouldn't give him the check unless he signed a contract. And everybody that know the story, he was the only one at the time didn't sign the contract. Which I think, ironically, they gave it to him on the last night of the tour. Called each of them up to the room individually, and saying, "Look, I think like $75,000 check." But what bugged me out, they said it was in advance for the next record. I'm like, damn. So you mean to tell me they didn't collect royalties off these first two albums? That easier said than done, and straight out of Compton, But they came to him with these 150-page contracts saying, "Hey, check's yours, but only if you sign a contract," which I thought was crazy, but he was the only one, man. Everybody else, I guess, basically had to starve them niggas out, man, because I think they got no, I think they really got no advance money from Priority, and they had a few other offers on the table, I think, but I think Priority was just the best fit. I think just kind of let them did whatever they wanted to do, and they also allowed him to have his ruthless imprint on the album, and I think Island, Island Def Jam, or Island, whatever it's called. I think they was interested, but he said, and it was giving up money, but they say he turned it down, man. But anyway, getting back to this album, man, he couldn't get Dre to do it at the time. That's who he wanted to do it, but you know, the labels, they weren't gonna have that happen. Jerry, I'm quite sure Easy either. So he called up Chuck, man, and called up Keith or Hank, and they was like, "Yeah, we produced the whole album." You're like, "That's what's up." And when he got there, man, he originally had the songs that he had. Some of the songs he had was actually for the next. He had already written down for the next NWA album, like I think Once Upon a Time in the Projects, Gangsta Fairy Tale, and I think Get Off My Dick. One of those, something like that. And also another little fun fact. If y'all remember the EP Jacket for Beats, he also wanted to do that on the next NWA album. I don't know if it went exactly like that, but yeah. But anyway, man, they put together a real solid album, a great album, man. Like I say, uh, kind of a social. You could kind of tell he was going with the social, political angle mixed in with the with the street rap or whatever you want to call it, gangster rap or reality rap, however you want to say it, and with songs like "Endangered Species," uh, "America's Most Wanted," you know what I'm saying? Kind of touch on little racial issues or injustices, if I should say. Um, you had other jams like "The Nigga You Love to Hate." Um, to me, I think the introduction of Yo Yo, "A Man's World," um, what they hitting for. Uh, like I said, "Once Upon a Time in the Projects." That was a cool, he was a great storyteller. So by him going to this going to see this chick or going to pick her up, and they invited me and sit down, and the mom is brothers are gang bangers. She got all these little kids. The mother's actually selling dope, and the house get raided while he's in there waiting for the broad. Shit is a trip, man. Cool song though. Went with JD's Gafflin. Um, he had a couple skits on JD's Gafflin. McDonald's is my spot. Yeah. Jack the motherfuckers for the Nissan trucks. That shit there. Yeah. Who's the Mac? Um, basically talking about motherfuckers that's getting over on people. You know what I'm saying? Using, it didn't have to be for like pimp, but just anybody, politicians, anybody. You know what I'm saying? Just that was another funny song. DJ Pooh was in that video. The Bomb, Get Off My Dick. I mentioned Gangsta's Fairy Tale. Turn the Radio Off. Shit. It's a few more, man. I'm Only Out for One Thing with Flav. Endangered Species, of course, with Chuck D. But it kind of reminds you of it had it was an East Coast flavor to it with the beats. You could tell with the Bomb Squad, but it still had a little touch with Ice Cube and Jinx. I guess giving their inputs. So it still was a great record. You know, overall, man, with the skits, the samples, of course, with his lyrics, man, strong voice, um, you know, he was a force to be reckoned with. You know what I'm saying? I mean, one of the best at the time. You know what I'm talking about? To me, next to Scarface, man, he kind of right behind Face. You know what I'm saying? But that's my opinion. But yeah, man, the album you could kind of tell was kind of like an introduction of where he would be going in the future, which it spilled over heavily into the next album as he got affiliated with the Nation of Islam. I don't know if he was ever actual member, but I think he was rocking with him at the time. You know what I'm saying? He had formed this crew. Also, the Lynch Mob was with later make their own records. You know what I'm saying? And he would also start a record label. The first one was I think Street Knowledge, and then later it would turn into like Lynch Mob Records. I think something like that. If I'm right, yeah. But he had groups like Caution, Cam, KD. He also discovered Mac 10. You know, You know, and Dub C always been rocking with him. But yeah, this album it really showcases, which we all knew from uh from what we saw from NWA, but this really he really got a chance to showcase his talent on his debut album, man, and really shine. Man, the album went gold in like 2 weeks, and maybe platinum in like 4 to 6 weeks, man. I mean, you know, he was a bona fide star, which he was already that, but this really catapulted him in the stardom, man, and it proved that he didn't need NWA. It kind of like showed that they really needed him, you know, which you know they did their thing without him, but you could tell he was missed. But I guess both of them had a point to prove. He didn't need them, and they didn't need him, which I think both of them came through on their ends, you know. But this is around the time, you know, if y'all remember, he got into it with at some convention with Above the Law, where he said something, he ended up dissing Above the Law or something like that. I don't know if who dissed who first, but they caught him at a convention. They were squabbling or whatever, you know. So it was a bunch of shit going on around this time, like during the time he made this album right here. It might have been after he made the album, but yeah, and it was a bunch of drama, man, along with it. But like I say, man, great album, man. The production was solid, you know, real solid with the Bomb Squad, of course, because we all know the work they did with Public Enemy, man. The two brothers, I think Keith and Hank Shockley. Yeah, them niggas dope as fuck, man. There's no doubt about that. But they actually, you know, East Coast producers, man, fucking with a West Coast artist, it actually clicked. Which I guess is, you know, I don't see why it wouldn't, because if you think about it, you go back some years before LL Cool J or Biggie and Defo was done by the LA Posse. So, you know, it's kind of like LA producers, you know, fucking with a New York rapper. So, same thing, just reversed this time, you know what I'm talking about? But anyway, man, this is a solid intro for Cube, man. It really showed that he had star quality, and he could make it on his own with this album, man. So if you haven't heard it, man, check it out. Or if you have, man, just revisit it, man. It's still bumping today like it did back in 1990, man. You know, shout out to Ice Cube with this one. And once again, man, before I go, please subscribe, please like, check out the videos, and I'll be back with more reviews shortly. And also, we'll mix it up with some news and other little things what's going on in the world of hip hop and entertainment. Until then.